Winning isn't everything, but it sure is nice. And I think it's safe to say we'd all love for Nintendo to come out on top of E3 2019. Is there any year where we don't want that to happen? Because Nintendo, being our favorites, has a lot of ability to shape the conference, not only for us as fans, but frankly for the industry as a whole. And that rings true this year more than maybe any before. With Sony out of the picture, it's basically down to Nintendo, Microsoft, and a few of the big publishers to really bring it home. And I think, Gabe, there are some notable things that the Big N can do to secure that top spot.
Yeah, it's a weird year in general, right? Because you mentioned Sony not being there, having one of, if not the biggest competition for Nintendo just automatically not there is going to make things a little bit easier. But hey, Microsoft has a brand new console coming. Does Nintendo? Who knows at this point? But you're right. There is some things that they need to do to hopefully win this. Hypothetically, of course, there is no real winner because we are all winners at the end of the day because we get to witness this beautiful spectacle.
Right, I guess unless nothing comes out, then we all do win. But hey, GameStop has already added a ton of new SKUs for every system, so we should be in the clear. Let us know in the comments down below what one thing you think Nintendo needs to do to win E3 and why. What do they need to come out and show you or accomplish in order to be crowned E3 2019 Hey King? Let us know in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoy the video and are pumped for the big show, which is next freaking week. Gabe, I think it starts, honestly, for me, with hitting the games that have been promised for so long. Those have to be really good.
I don't worry about this one so much, right? We know about a lot of the games, and for me, that's like one thing that they need to overcome, honestly. The fact that we know so much, they still got to surprise us in some ways. But let's talk about the games we know are coming. We know that Luigi's Mansion's coming. We know Pokemon's coming. We know Astral Chain is coming. Town. Zach, a little name called Animal
Link's
Crossing.
Awakening.
Don't know if you've heard about Animal Crossing before.
Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, so many
Fire
titles.
Emblem
Mua.
And the 3. Yes?
Mua
3.
Yeah. A lot of
which
stuff.
Is potentially overshadowed by Avengers.
It doesn't matter. A lot of stuff happening. A lot.
Yeah.
It's just all of these need to hit. And they will hit the dates. I'm not really afraid of any of them being delayed. I don't think we see anything like that. But they need to hit quality-wise.
Yeah, well, I think it's an interesting spot because they have shown so little, yet they've been mentioned for so long, and they've been mentioned within the context of 2019 for so long. It is a little bit akin to what Sony has done as of late, where they'll show the same exclusive 2, 3, 4 E3s in a row. It better hit if you're devoting that much time and that much fan mindshare to it. Now, Nintendo, I guess, has a little bit less attachment to that plan because they haven't shown hardly anything for Luigi, and they've shown nothing for Animal Crossing. But still, they've been in the discussions for a while, and so I hope that they can really come out and say, hey, you knew we had these and they're good. And that last part is incredibly important because we do know they have them, and so I think their show inevitably is not going to be as surprising, making it all the more important that what we know ends up being something that we're going to love.
For me, that's important, though. We still need some surprises. Let's talk about that. All right, because Microsoft might announce and show a new console. That is very, very hard to compete against. I don't know what you can do, I guess, at that point. I know that there was talks of a Switch iteration. May or may not happen. The word is it's not happening at E3. It's still going to happen at some point, I guess. But even then, let's say a Switch Mini does get announced at E3. How can you compete with a brand new Xbox?
Yeah, you really can't. I think for most people, I would say that a Switch Mini deters from the success of the conference.
Yeah.
More than helps.
But it's surprising, though, and that's what we want. We want
Yeah.
surprises. That's what E3 has always been about. I want to know about games that I don't even know exist. I want those big, cool announcements, those wow moments, those first few frames of a trailer, right? When something's popping on screen, you're like, ooh, what is this? What is this? Could it be this? Could it be that? You get so excited. There's very little that can replicate that exact moment of excitement. Right. I think back to the Super Mario Odyssey reveal trailer, right, where the camera zooms in, it's panning in on his dinosaur. You're like, the dinosaur? What's happening? A dino craze or something? We don't know. And then Cappy happens, and you're like, oh my god, it's Mario. So stuff like that is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I think the biggest exclusive competitor, Sony, is now out, so Nintendo gets to reign supreme with their dedicated IP, and it would be great if there was something that did skirt expectations. And it could honestly fall within the games that we know, right? If you're talking surprises, yeah, instantly my mind goes to like Mario Strikers 3 or something completely brand new, a new IP. You know, just give us DLC. But it could also be within the context of Animal Crossing and Luigi's Mansion 3 in particular, two games that we don't know much about. If Luigi's Mansion 3 comes out and is shockingly big, or if Animal Crossing redraws that formula in notable ways, even Pokemon perhaps, Gabe, if they do make some moves to modify the expectations of that franchise, those could be surprises as well. Kind of as you're mentioning with Mario Odyssey, maybe not as crazy, but I feel like that could be incredibly beneficial if the sequels not only are quality, but do have some tricks up their sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of tricks up their sleeve, do you think we see any new IP? That's another thing I really enjoy about E3, like brand new games, like entirely new games. Yes, Nintendo has amazing storied franchises that are legendary. Do you think there's any chance we see something like wholly new? I know Astral Chain, it kind of fits that, even though it's not like Nintendo specifically making it, but I'm counting that anyways. What are your thoughts on that?
New IP is tricky. I mean, they've seen success. ARMS maybe nowhere near as much as like Splatoon, but the few things that they have introduced have done really well. So it feels like it could be time for another brand new idea to sprout. I think you run such a difficult balance with Nintendo, because for every new idea, you're inevitably closing the door on an old idea that people want back. So it's like, do I want a new IP or do I want Strikers 3? Do I want a new property, or would I just love Pikmin to come back? I think that depends on what kind of fan you are and what you want. I don't know. This year to me, it's like they need to have two surprises, and as long as their exclusives are rock solid, I think that might be enough. You know, you could say that because things are known, they have a lot of work to do, but in this case, with Sony not there, I think because things are known, they don't have as much work to do. So as long as they hit their exclusives and then bring two surprises, it's going to be hard not to pick Nintendo.
Yeah, even with the rival console being a brand new thing.
Well, that's where it gets difficult, and I wanted to bring this up because I've been thinking about it a lot. Microsoft is very good at their E3 presentation. Microsoft is equally not very good the rest of the year. So there's a part of this that is like, hey, winning E3 means not much if you can't back it up, right? Because think about how great Microsoft's conference was last year. They've got the Gears 5 reveal. They've got the Halo Infinite reveal. They've got the Cyberpunk 2077 takeover. Did that really yield much for them the rest of 2018? Has that yielded really much of anything the first half of 2019? But you're right. This one's a bit different because it is a new console. Because they are going to, unless there's a surprise state of play in the next week, they're going to be the first to usher in the next generation. We saw, obviously, how much of a boost that gave Nintendo when they had the spotlight all to themselves back in March 2017. Could Microsoft recapture that in March of 2020? I really hope so. But to me, it comes down to the games, and knowing I get to play Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion 3, maybe a surprise Pikmin or Strikers, I think that's still more appealing than a new graphically intensive console that is going to probably have a slower launch lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it has to, but there's going to be huge third-party support there. And I mean, we're not here to talk about Microsoft a whole lot, but I also think it's important to note that that's a 2-hour press conference versus like Nintendo's like maybe 30-minute or 45-minute direct. So that's another thing that we should point out here. I'm not worried about Nintendo. I think Nintendo has a really good, solid chance of winning E3. And I will say this. If you've been trying to speak this into existence, Zach, I don't think it happens. Not a lot of people do. But if like Mario Kart 9 or something like on that level ends up being announced for me, like they're like automatically a winner because I know that I'm going to get to play it right away. And I know that like, or not right away, just like within reason. It's not going to be one of those things where we're shown something and then like 4 years later we still don't know about it. Nintendo just doesn't do that. But
Metroid Prime 4.
That's yeah, fair. But that was a troubled development. That was a very unique case.
One-off example, yeah. I mean, I think to me, I will always be a substance over potential person, and so to me, like a super strong lineup of games will win out over tech. But I do worry that if Microsoft comes out and has this incredible machine that does have that incredible third-party support, and we're looking at the next generation of Watch Dogs and the next generation of BioShock and the next generation of these games that just won't be coming to Switch, could this be a year where that frustration is felt more than ever? And what part does the third-party lineup play in Nintendo winning and the Switch still staying as like the console to have?
I mean, I think that, you know, indie support and stuff like that, it's just not, it's not for E3, I guess. The stuff that makes like Nintendo the must-have console that it is, it's so difficult to convey at E3, especially with knowing so much. It's strange that we know like all of these games like already. Like, I don't know, for me that feels a little bit weird. But I don't know. I think they have a fairly solid chance though.
I feel like third-party support is going to be important because Nintendo, they don't. They're gonna have their stuff, and I need like Doom Eternal to really come through. I need that to look good, run good, still be day and date as we were told, and I need there to be one or two more things, because that to me is where at least you can. Okay, well, hey, Xbox and inevitably PS5 are going to get this crazy lineup of the biggest titles from Ubisoft and Square and EA, but hey, at least we've got Doom Eternal, and at least we've got, you know, X, Y, and Z. So I do hope and feel like some third party this year is going to be very important, because as everyone looks ahead, it will feel more and more like Nintendo is in an era of their own if they're not at least getting some big titles from the other companies.
Yeah, for me, it's hard to put so much stock in that, just because, yeah, like Doom could like run like awesome on Switch, like way better than the original Doom did on Switch, but then it's still not going to look as good as the other one. So I try not to.
But it's just having it there so that you don't look and say, "Oh God, that Anaconda with Splinter Cell and Watch Dogs and BioShock, you know, whatever they come out with." Like, I don't want to be going Red Faction remastered. Darksiders 2 definitive. You know, like,
yeah, okay.
So I think even if it's a simpler game like Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 3, like if that gets announced, that has to be on Switch, because that will be such a gain and such a boost. We know that their exclusive lineup is second to none, and we know with Sony out of the picture, it is going to shine even more. Microsoft will come through this year because they are gonna show Halo, and they've got a lot of gears, so their big guns are lined up and ready to fire. It's interesting because we kind of overlook it just based on I've played it, it's coming soon, but you can't forget that Mario Maker 2 is a part of Nintendo's E3. And that is going to be a considerable weight to throw around when it comes to deciding how this conference ends up and how this show ends up. Like, they have a big, bold, potentially one of the best ever Mario games coming a few weeks after E3.
That's true. That is very true. I don't think anyone else has a game quite that big coming that soon after E3.
Well, and it needs to be included. And I fear and feel like because so much has been shown and because it's so soon, it may not factor in as heavily. But, like, that's to say if Sony said, hey, Last of Us 2 is coming June 28th, like, that absolutely should be a part of their E3 score. That absolutely should be considered when comparing the companies. And I really hope that Mario Maker 2 does not get overlooked because of the preview event that already went down and because of its imminent release. I don't know, you know.
Well, I mean, the game's not going to get overlooked. It might get like a tad overlooked for E3, but
I mean, for E3, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
for E3,
I don't mind that.
I just want it to factor in because it needs to. It's one of their biggest games of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
and it is coming post E3,
and it's going to be represented. They're having the Invitational and all that. Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, it'll be fine.
So I don't know what this Direct will fully hold. I think. To think like, ooh, it's Doug Bowser and it's going to be different. No, I really think it's going to be very similar. I think the way that they choose to use their time is also going to be a huge factor in how we view this. Because at the end of the day, 99% of the people participating in E3 are participating from afar. They don't get to go to the show floor. They don't get to see the Animal Crossing village we think they're going to build. They don't get to get hands-on time with Pokemon Sword and Shield. So that Direct is E3 for many people. So how they choose to divvy up the time they have is of the utmost importance.
That becomes tricky because I just thought about this, right? Given the fact that we do know so many of these games, right? a decent chunk of the direct is gonna have to be taken up by this, right? Like
Majority of it.
yeah, like it's like 7 or 8 games. You give them all a couple of minutes, boom, there's like most of your direct. So I guess it is just getting details on stuff we already know exists and not so much new, which then worries me a little bit. But if they just nail it and, like you mentioned before, give a big Luigi's Mansion experience unlike anything we've seen before with that franchise, I mean, that'll do a lot for me.
It all depends on how you view it and what's more important to you. It's like, does nailing known substance, matter more than the potential hype for something unknown? I really feel like, if I have to give you my closing argument here, I really feel like Nintendo winning E3 will come down to those 1 or 2 surprises. I feel like if they can get those and hit those, it's going to be pretty easy to seal this deal.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. So,
if they don't, though, if it's just an Animal Crossing, like, it really shouldn't boil down to 1 or 2 things, right? But if it's just known, to me, this show, this E3 convention that is withering, right? That's undeniable.
Sure, yeah. So many of these companies are just like, nope.
The surprise and spectacle means so much, and they have to make sure, whether it's a tease for freaking Mario Kart 9 or just the announcement of a really awesome new sports Mario title, or Pikmin comes back, it's going to come down to that, I think. And I hope that they can utilize their few moments of fresh, brand new, spectacular, awe-inspiring magic. I hope that they can wield that power well, and I think then their awesome lineup, their exclusives, and their quality content will carry them through. But when you're going up against a brand new console, and when you're going up against 4K and next gen and new power, I think you do still need something unknown, and they got to get there.
They do.
All right, let us know in the comments down below what you think Nintendo needs to do to win E3 2019. Give us your take in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you're pumped for the show and ready to go. We're getting geared up. We are going to be getting planed up soon and taking off for Los Angeles, bringing you every ounce of coverage that we possibly can, and squeezing every ounce out of that Nintendo booth and all that they bring to the Los Angeles Convention Center. So make sure to hit that notification bell, subscribe if you haven't, follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/theswitchforce. The link's always in the description. You can count on that like you can count on your mom making breakfast. And until next time, for myself and Gabe, thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Switch Force out.